Why, hello there, exiles. Welcome back to Tell Us About. We are on episode number 4 here, and we are joined today with OMISID. Now, OMISID, if you're not familiar with him, does a lot of gamble videos, and he does a lot of fun stuff. You know, stays away from the build guides a little bit. He might dip in there a little bit, but mostly just fun. Good old fun. Thank you for joining us today, OMISID.
Thanks for having me. As ambassador of fun.
Yeah, exactly. It's always good to have a fellow funner on, you know. So
Yeah,
not a stick in the mud, right?
exactly.
So you cheated a little bit because you watched the other interviews and you a little bit know what's coming. So maybe I'll still surprise you with some questions. We'll see. But you kind of saw you kind of saw the flow. So we're gonna open it up with tell us the backstory. How did you discover Path of Exile? What got you playing the game?
Sure. So I started off playing Diablo 3. I never played Diablo 2. I skipped that apparently, but I started off playing Diablo 3 and I loved it because I didn't know anything else. I didn't know any better. I didn't realize that everyone actually hated Diablo 3 and everyone loved Diablo 2, but let me live in my moment from 10 years ago. And then I remember seeing Crip play Path of Exile, and I was like, wow, this looks like a really bad graphic version of Diablo 3. This is a thought that passed through my head. And then, this was probably 2013. I saw Crip playing Path of Exile, and Diablo started to die down. I can't remember exactly when the expansion came out, but I started to die down, and I moved on to other stuff. I was a big time WoW gamer, so I played a lot of WoW, and I was just doing that. And then 2014, I think it was Warbands, if I'm not mistaken. I was like, you know what the hell? Let's just give it a shot. I'll play a little POE with one of my friends from real life, and we just went in, and honestly, I never looked back. I didn't play very consistently from about 2014 to maybe like 2017 or so. But then right around 2017 is when I haven't missed a league since then. I'll say. So that was the humble beginnings, though.
Gotcha. And what was your first character like? Did you look up a guide or?
Oh no, I didn't even realize that was an option. I played a duelist. I actually have a distinct memory because this is right when there were still difficulty levels,
Yeah,
and you just played the acts over and over and over again. And I have a distinct memory of my friend and I dying repeatedly in Blood Aqueducts. I think on whatever the 3rd tier difficulty was. I can't remember the name, like Nightmare or something like that.
Mm-hmm.
And we would just die. I think we died like 600 times in the Blood Aqueducts, just like farming and dying. We just couldn't figure out how to level. I got to level 66. That was the highest I ever was. No resistances, no defense at all. I took only damage on the skill on the tree coming from Diablo 3, where it just kind of like they just gave you defense, on a platter.
Yeah.
So yeah, I never thought about it at all. But yeah, it was a rough start as a duelist, an unascended duelist.
An unascended duelist.
That's right.
You just didn't know about ascendancies either? Or
I
they
don't
didn't
remember if
exist?
ascendancies were out. I actually don't remember if they were out at that time.
I think they were when there were 4 acts, so I think you just didn't know they
Okay,
existed.
then I didn't know. Yeah,
I think so. I don't know. So I'm sure we'll get in the comment section. Someone will be like, "Well, that's not true. Ascendancies didn't come out to 1 patch later, idiots."
Yeah, exactly.
Probably. Yeah. So someone will correct us. I'm sure.
Okay. Yeah, exactly.
Here's your opportunity to shine. Someone correct us. Okay, in the comments. Yeah. Go for
Please.
it. Go for it. Yeah. So wow, a duelist.
Mm-hmm.
What
With
skill?
An embarrassing name that I'll never repeat.
Skill? Well, now I want to hear the name of your character.
The character's name was.
Wait, was it some racist shit? Or you gonna get me
No.
Oh, okay.
No. Nothing bad. It's just cringe, I would say. My character's name was Nostrils McGee. That's a fact. You can quote me.
It's a good, solid first name, I think.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah, I don't really know the impetus for that one, but I think it came from God, is the way I think about it.
Yeah, Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. There's more cringe things than that I've had for character names. I will not utter them.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly. You get to keep your secrets. I'll
exactly.
Share
I'll keep my. I'm interviewing you. Yeah. This is tell us.
Yeah.
Me included. I ain't sharing that stuff. So.
Yeah. So I think the skill though was dual strike though. Okay. I think it was. If I remember correctly. I don't remember 100%, but I think it was a plethora of random skills because I didn't understand how supports worked. So like I was just had like a bunch of active skills and no supports. So you know, it is what it is.
Gotcha.
I've learned.
Gotcha.
I hope.
Gotcha. Yeah, my I have a cousin that I grew up with, and he has brain damage, and like serious topic in here. He always likes to play certain games, and so I introduced him to Path of Exile, and I gave him a guide, which he just decided not to follow, and he picked up all stat points, and I saw what he did, and he was in Act 3, and he didn't understand how skills work, so he auto-attacked his way, just straight up autoed to Act 3. Grind. That is impressive. I was
that is very impressive.
I was like, oh my gosh, how long did this take you? Anyways, so but I was a double striker melee splash character with a shield that died a lot. But you know, I told that story on the Pelstron one, so I'll repeat it. But yeah, because I was used to the Diablo 3 at the time. I actually played Diablo 2. It just was so long ago between that and me playing WoW and all the stuff that I forgot about like how resist worked in Diablo 2 when I got into Path of Exile. I think I'm gonna have to make like some sort of a compilation of me asking people how they got into Path of Exile and everyone just answering Crypt Carrion. Maybe something like Crypt Carrion can't keep getting away with it because it's like everybody's answer. Like Crypt put it on the map for like almost all of us. It's
it's crazy the influence he's had.
Yeah, for sure. Good guy.
Very good guy.
So why did you start making content for the game?
Yeah, so around this time 2 years ago, I made the channel. I used to love watching MB Extreme's like gambling videos, and I was thinking, man, those are so awesome. Then I started watching Slippery Jim, who was doing what I would describe as, you know, extreme content, right? You know, he'd run like 10,000 barrel chambers, and I was like, what kind of insane person does this sort of thing to themselves? And my game knowledge was still, the nice thing about Path of Exile is I never feel like I know what I'm doing, which is, I think, a nice feeling, is that I always feel like I'm learning, I'm gaining things. I'm constantly being told when I don't know something, so that's always a good one.
Wait, you're a content creator and you don't know every single thing?
Shocking, I know.
What's the meaning of life? What's the meaning of life here?
I plead the fifth. Okay. Yeah, that's why I didn't take the oath before we started.
Oh, okay. The oath. Is that why you didn't sign that paperwork? That's
why I didn't sign the paperwork. Exactly. Yeah. I watched a lot of MB Extreme, and I was thinking, I love these sort of videos, and essentially, I didn't feel like there was enough. I always felt like, you know, there's like a handful of people who are doing stuff like this. MB Extreme really was the big one, at least at the time. And I wanted to make the sort of videos that I wanted to see myself. And I wanted to make them short form. That was something I was very insistent on. MB Extreme's videos are very long and very detailed, which has a great value. But I wanted to make kind of like quicker, to the more directly focused on the point, like the gamble themselves. So I started making like much quicker videos. My first videos didn't really accomplish that. They were much longer because I think I was a little nervous, you know.
But as you were nervous on your like first video, what
I know, idiot. Shocking. I know it's a rare one. Yeah, exactly. But the time, so I took like a big long break in there. I made the first videos maybe February 2020, roughly. And then I started making videos again, maybe November 2020. So a really nice chunk in there. And I kind of came back with this renewed sense of trying to make these sort of more short form gambling videos. And then honestly, I never stopped since then. It's been almost, a year and a half or so. But MB Extreme, that was the inspiration, 100%. And Slippery Jim to some degree.
Gotcha. Cool.
Yeah.
So since you're always doing the gambling and you gotta click a lot, even when I do some mild gambling, it destroys my hand. Okay, so like, what are the secrets? Are there hand stretches that you do? Are you wearing a glove? Is there a cream that maybe I can apply to my hands to?
No, when I do like really big stack deck videos, which I tend to do at least once a league, like this league I did 7,000 stack decks. I did that over the course of like 48 hours.
Okay.
I take huge long breaks. The first time I did 5,000 stack decks, I couldn't move. I did it all in one chunk. I did like 3 hours. and I couldn't move my hand afterwards for like 24 hours, and I was just like, I'm never doing this again. I'm never opening these damn decks ever again. And then I kind of,
Until
I took a
next
breath.
video.
Yeah, until next video, exactly. And then I kind of took a breath, and I realized let's just space this out a little bit here, because so what I did was I would do an inventory every 30 minutes or so. So I'm doing 600 decks, every 30 minutes, and I spread it out over the course of a couple days, and then it's not so bad. But I had an idea a long time ago to do 100,000 fusings and see how many six links I could get. But then I was just thinking, like, the clicking that I was going to have to do to do
That's so
100,000
much
fusings.
clicking. Oh my gosh.
I was just like, it's not worth it. It's not worth it. I feel like at this point I'm just like Craft of Exile, just running a simulation, and I don't
Just put in
think
the
I need
numbers,
that.
let it roll. Let it
Yeah,
roll. Just tell me,
exactly.
spit out the number. That's what we're really here for.
Yeah. It's like a 10-second video. How many six links can I get in 100,000 fusings? I just print a path of or Craft of Exile screen, with the results.
Exactly. 10 seconds. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's,
But so
if I did it,
the
it would
clicking is
be
real.
real. Yeah.
Yeah,
Sure.
exactly. The clicking problem is real, but I'm trying to be very mindful of that, because I definitely don't want to end up with a wrist problem. That's for sure. That is very, very not ideal.
Gotcha. Okay. I'm going to throw a curveball in here.
Oh no.
How big? The dread. Oh no.
Oh no.
Oh
Gulp.
no. What do you think about the rarity of six links? Like the ability for people to get them. And when you first started, were they super rare, or were they already kind of like really easy to get?
When I first started, I definitely did not know the concept of a six link. But when I first started playing like really seriously, maybe like like I said, 2017, give or take, six links felt very elusive. I think knowledge is power in a game like Path of Exile, right? The more you know, the easier it is to do something. So I had no idea that you could farm, the Blood Aqueducts and get a tabula rasa. Like, if you really are hell bent on getting a six link, it's really not, it's the options there. And this is, now, I would say don't do that. Don't waste your time farming a tabula rasa, especially just with how I think common six links feel. But it definitely felt rarer. I don't know if it truly was rare. Maybe just the addition of all these mechanics on top of this, on top of the base game, since 2017 has made it more common. But I am okay with six links and having to link things, which is maybe a controversial opinion. Just get lucky, forehead, as I would always say. But I think that the reality is it always evens out. It always evens out. If you get unlucky somewhere, you get your luck back somewhere else. It's all numbers, right? So I think that it's okay for some things to not be super attainable. And to even have them gated behind RNG is not always the worst thing. But on the same note, six links are so important to every single build that I think that the fact that they feel easier to get now is not just a game knowledge thing. I think it is the fact that it is easier just through, again, the addition of all these mechanics and power creep. I think it has become easier potentially. So I guess long story short is I could see both sides, but I'm okay with it being the current system. However, I will not be sad when six links go away in PoE 2. I'll say that.
Yeah.
Or like six linking, I should say, six linking.
Yeah. I started playing way before that, so six links were very, very, very rare. Actually, when I started, people were exalting maps because maps were also super scarce. I don't know if you have you ever lived through those areas where the maps are like, you can't sustain red maps.
I actually remember distinctly, though, a clip of Crip again, talking about how if somebody found a mirror, they would be mirroring a map because it was so difficult to sustain maps, which is just a crazy concept, obviously.
Yeah, exactly.
Now.
Yeah, for sure. Yeah, that's how rare it was, and they went in a different direction. So nowadays, when people are like, "Well, I can't sustain maps," I'm like, relative to what time era? I don't think you realize, like, I was volleying every single map, and I still couldn't sustain, and we were putting, all sorts of things. Well, like scarabs were in the thing, and then before that, sextants were in the thing. So there's all this like bloat to more monsters per map. So that's part of why all this stuff is. It adds more fusings to the game for the six links, and then also more map drops as well. So
Plus, it's like corrupted strongboxes are just the most accessible thing in the world right now. And if you
Yeah.
really are just hell bent on getting any kind of six link at all, I get like one a map. I feel like when I'm playing because it's the corrupted strongboxes and they're just raining six links.
Hmm.
There may not be the best six link, but if you need that link desperately, then the option is there, and that's a really, especially now with the new Atlas tree, really easy to get corrupted strongboxes. I think it's like one of the first like 5 or 6 nodes that you can land, and it's not that bad. It's not that bad.
Yeah, for sure. The ambush overall, if it's not nerfed next
Hmm.
league, specking into
I
those, and even the scarabs, the
I
amount
hope
of
not.
scarabs you can
Hmm.
get for it, or
Yeah.
just even paying for ambush early on all of it is just so much currency and just a really
Oh
good
yeah.
method.
Oh yeah.
A lot of good stuff that
Very
they put
strong.
in with this league to just
Oh
for
yeah.
elk and goers, right? So, which
And
is
I
really
I think
cool.
at heart I'm an Alkin goer. So it's this was a great league. This is the easiest league I think to just make passive currency just playing the game
Yeah.
than any other league in my memory at least. Um, And I think for a lot of people, including myself, I would say that was a very welcome change to just kind of be like you didn't feel like you had to run a strategy per se.
Hmm.
You didn't feel like you were forced to run. You can, of course, like for example, like if you really want to run expeditions, for example, in maps, that was an option, but you don't have to do that. You can just play the game and just have anything that naturally comes your way, and you'll make money guaranteed. It's just no
Hmm.
way around it, which I thought was really really nice. This league.
Yeah, for sure. Um, what sort of characters do you like to play? Or do you have a certain favorite or a certain part of the tree that you stick to? What's your go to?
Yeah, so I've only in the last 3 or 4 years, I think I haven't played anything that's not a witch, ranger, or shadow. I literally think that that's true. If I looked back at my characters, I delete my characters after leagues, which maybe is sacrilege, but I delete a lot of my characters. So I don't actually know what I've played every single league. I know people. I've never been like I need to buy a character slot. I just never that slot that
Dude,
has
I
never
am a
come down.
hoarder. I am the complete opposite.
See,
If you go into
yeah,
standard, you would have nightmares if you saw, just because I've been
oh
playing
yeah,
for so long. My
oh yeah.
remove only stash tabs. Who knows what's in there? Okay.
See, that's the thing. Is what I do is I'll strip the characters in standard and then I'll delete them. I don't delete them with the gear for anybody who's concerned about all this beautiful legacy gear that I've sent into the void. Um, but yeah, this league I actually only played 2 rangers. I played a poisonous concoction pathfinder and LS raider. I'm a meta man, as it were.
Meta
Uh,
Man.
I'm a meta
Are
man.
you
Yeah,
renaming your channel to Meta Man?
yeah, exactly. Yeah, a
Brother of Mega
swift
Man.
rebrand. Yeah. um, but yeah, I've played minions a bunch. I really like Necromancer. I started
Mhm.
Necromancer in Expedition. I can't remember. I think in the Expedition as well. I played Spectral Shield Throw. You can see the trend here.
Yeah,
I
you're
just
just
play a
like the
lot of
meta. I want that one. So you're
yeah, yeah,
more
yeah.
focused on what you could do in the game than you're just like, I want a build that works. I'm just gonna play a
Yes.
build that works so I can do the stuff I want to do.
Exactly. To me, the character is the vessel to get to the content that I want to do. Of course, I want my build to be fun. But obviously,
Yeah.
considering if your build's not fun, then you're not enjoying the quote the content, right? You're not enjoying the
Hmm.
layers of the game. But at the same time, I don't really feel the need to struggle to like force a meme build or anything like that. And I understand why people like to do that. But the fun for me is actually like blasting, and I like to blast with generally speaking a meta character because there's a reason that they're meta. They
Hmm.
wouldn't be meta if they were bad. And I'm perfectly fine to add a lightning strike raider video to the top of the pile, or a cast on crit. I love cast on crit. I played that for leagues in a row. I'm happy to add one of those to the pile of videos out there because I just that's the sort of stuff that I like to play.
Yeah. What's your favorite skill in the game that you've ever played? Just think of like
Man.
don't you don't have to answer for like its current
Hmm.
state, but like whatever
Sure.
state it was when you played it and really liked it.
Oh man, that's tough. I I really enjoyed Lightning Strike this league. That was really fun. Um, I don't know, is that my favorite skill though ever? I really liked Cyclone in Legion. That was fun. That was fun.
Yeah, when it was
Uh,
like
so,
full screen AoE.
Yeah, exactly. And when like 50% of all characters above 90 were playing Cyclone or something like that. But that doesn't there's a reason for that, right?
Yeah.
It's really fun, really strong. That was great. I've made a Cyclone character like a dozen times. That's one of the exceptions to my rule of uh the Raider, or not Raider, Ranger, Shadow, Witch formula. Is occasionally I'll make just a classic good old Slayer Cyclone build and just enjoy that until I realize that I'm falling behind.
Like, oh, I'm
Essentially,
getting a little bit dangerous right now. We'll go back to a Slayer
yeah,
Cyclone, guys.
exactly,
Got to go back
exactly.
to your roots, from time
The
to
thing
time.
is, it's also, and then now it's kind of manifested itself as the cast on crit builds, right? Which I really like too, and it's all based around Cyclone. So I would argue these are essentially the same builds in my eyes. They're just functioning slightly differently.
Yeah, for sure. All right. So you told me a little bit, but you didn't tell me the details that you were denied by Chris Wilson. What
I
what
I
what what
was
happened?
I
What
was.
happened?
So I had an idea for a video, which I may withhold because just in case this comes to fruition later, and it
Okay.
happens,
Yeah.
I want it to be I want that little element of surprise. But I had an idea for
Okay.
a video, and it involved Chris Wilson, and I had this idea maybe 6 months ago, and I was thinking, oh, this would be really good. I'm thinking to myself in my little thought bubble appearing.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking I'm kind of nervous. I don't want to reach out. I don't want to be a bother. Essentially, plus it's like I didn't want to make it into a whole thing, and then it kind of fell by the wayside, and I forgot. And then maybe 2 months ago, the idea came into my head, and I said, you know what? I'm just gonna email him. What's the worst things that happen is he doesn't respond, or he blasts me. Maybe he flames me through email. um, but I figured if I could get just a response, I'd call that a win. And I emailed him, I think at 1 o'clock in the afternoon on, I think, just a random weekday. He responds like 15 minutes later, like really, really fast. And I was thinking, I'm trying to do the calculation of what time that was in Australia. And I like to think that the first thing that he did that day was respond to my email.
We probably
um,
woke him up, and that's why he got the response that he
yeah,
did. He was like mid,
yeah,
oh, some crisis, the servers are down, whatever. I got to rally
yeah.
the troops. This
Yeah,
guy,
yeah, yeah.
this guy,
No,
really, this
it's
guy.
it's it's this YouTuber with 10,000 subs who wants me to collab with him.
Exactly.
A sore disappointment. But he was very gracious. He was very nice. He said he liked the idea. So take that for what you will, haters. You know what I'm saying? He was a fan. So maybe down the line he'll want to do it. But I think it would be really good, really fun too. Really
Okay,
fun.
well, hopefully it works out, because I guess that's the only way
Yeah,
we're gonna know more about that. So,
honestly,
but he
yeah.
let you down easy.
He let me down easy. He was very, very nice. Like I said, I
How
was
did he
happy
do
to
it?
get the
How did he do
response.
it?
He said, "You know what? I've got it up here. I've
Okay.
got it." He said, "Thanks for the email. I really appreciate it. I wish I was able to do it with you, but I'm really, really busy right now with just the new leagues that are coming out. I like the idea though." And I said, "Thanks for your response." That was pretty much it. But very, very
He
gracious.
didn't exactly say that's not a hard no. I mean, it could still
And that's
happen,
that's what
man.
I'm
I mean,
that's what I'm
yeah, it could
saying.
still happen. I mean,
That's what I'm
and you like
saying.
the idea. I mean, there's still hope
He
there. I
he
think
didn't
there.
just like the idea. He really liked the idea.
Yeah, exactly.
There you
So what
go.
you should have responded with, so you're saying there's a chance. That's
Yeah, yeah, I should have.
and just see what he says. He's
I,
like, no. Let me be very clear.
I,
No, this is never happening. I was just being political.
I think maybe in like 3 or 4 months I'll just respond on the chain and just hit him with like a carrot, like a little up arrow, and see if he
The
comes back
passive
to me.
aggressive up arrow.
Well, not passive aggressive, just a little bump, just a little
Just
bump,
a little bump.
bring it back to the top of
Maybe
his
you should hit
inbox.
him. Maybe you should hit him with the word bump. Just
Yeah,
bump is
yeah,
all it
yeah.
says.
Maybe that's
Just so
better.
he's
Yeah,
aware what it is. So there's
exactly.
nothing like
Maybe
that.
that's better. I like that.
Yeah. Well, good luck with that.
Thank you. I will need it.
Okay. Well, lots of it. But you're not going to get a mirror drop if you use that luck emailing Chris. So
That
sorry, buddy.
I didn't
You
think
just
about
lost a
that.
mirror.
That's true.
A mirror someone just got deleted that you could have had. So
Gosh,
you know.
I didn't think about it like that. Now I'm screwed. Now I'm really screwed.
So let's talk a little bit about content creation in general. So you mentioned being,
Sure.
of course, nervous when you got started, which I think is pretty natural.
hmm
Did you know at all what you were doing at the start? How did you go about learning the text that you needed to be able to even put out a video? What was that process like? And
Yeah. So I would say it was a few different parts. I have two friends who are both YouTubers. One of them is no longer active on YouTube, and the other one is quite large. He's not in the Path of Exile space, but he's a very large YouTuber, and he kind of gave me a little bit of like the tips and tricks of the trade, just to get the idea of exactly what essentially like what's what. And because I was very clueless, I've only known what I've seen through other YouTubers, but a lot of that has been kind of knowledge that I've only started to really pick up on in the last year or so as I've really gotten into my stride, as it were, in terms of making
Mhm.
videos. Like for example, obviously, like I said, I was watching a lot of MB Extreme, and I was thinking these are really great. How can I kind of do something like this, but with my own personal twist on it? I was watching a lot of Path of Exile YouTube. I've seen pretty much every at the time of original creation, I'd seen like I feel like every single Path of Exile YouTuber out there. I really was just trying to see what everyone's doing and see how I thought I could potentially fit into the scene. Um, but then within the last year, I know I mentioned this offline, but I watch a lot of just non Path of Exile YouTube as well, and I take a lot of tips and cues kind of for what I see a lot of those YouTubers are doing. So, for example, I think Small Ant is maybe like the smartest YouTuber on the platform. I think that he's just got it. He's just got it down. I take a huge notes in terms of how he titles things, how he scripts things. I don't do any scripting. Like that's not the sort of video that I do where I'm like kind of talking over gameplay in the scripted way. Sometimes I do that, but for the most part, it's 99% of the time that's not the case. Um, but thumbnail knowledge, I look to people like that. I try to look to what's working for a lot of other people, regardless of what space they're in, to see how can I bring that into my own channel to understand, what would people like, what sort of content people like, just maybe at their core, even if it's not specifically Path of Exile.
Mhm, mhm. And what do you think of Path of Exile content in general relative to a bunch of the other content? Like comparing
It's a good,
them.
it's a good question. I think that Path of Exile content is at least the content that's out there right now is very different than a lot of maybe the general content on YouTube. Um, I think that obviously we're speaking to a very niche part of the world relative to maybe some of these other YouTubers who have much broader appeal just in terms of topic across, any, because, it's like if you're playing Mario, for example, a lot more people are potentially interested in Mario than understanding my Lightning Strike Raider build.
Yeah,
It's
exactly.
just, it's very different group. Um, so I would say that Path of Exile YouTubers are kind of in a little bit of their own niche that doesn't necessarily there's some overlaps between I would say the greater YouTube world in terms of how people do things, but I don't think there's a huge amount of overlap. And I've tried to kind of, from my own perspective, change that a little bit, and like I said, incorporate more of what I'm seeing outside of the community to see if people in our community would like that. Because at the end of the day, it's like I want people to like it, right?
Yeah.
And if they don't like it, then what's the point? So I'm trying to say, okay, if they like this sort of style outside of Path of Exile, I wonder how people would feel if I brought this sort of video into the Path of Exile world and kind of made a video like that. And I have an idea for a video. It is a ton of time that's going to take me to do, but I have this idea of kind of incorporating a lot of what I'm seeing out there as sort of like the first real test of that. I just haven't gotten around to it because it's like 16 hours of recording or something like that. And
Yeah.
who's
Yeah.
got time for that? Who's got time for that?
Yeah. It takes a lot of time. That's one of the things people don't appreciate is whenever we're making content, that's time we're not playing the game. So that's why you're not getting an update on the last thing I built because I just spent a bunch of time editing a video. Guy, chill, man. I'll get to the updates. Anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
I just go
That
on
was
Hinge.
boiling in you. Yeah.
I got a message right now, maybe on that other screen. Maybe that's what just happened to set me off a little bit.
Yeah, yeah.
Crazy James. I should rename my channel apparently.
Yeah,
Um,
exactly.
so you do your own editing mostly
I do. I
or
do.
completely or
Completely. Yeah. to me, the editing and the piecing together is the fun part. I mean, I love the recording and the playing, of course, but in terms of content creation, the fun part to me is kind of piecing it all together, editing. And more recently, you know, when I first started, it was literally zero editing. I did literally nothing. I would record with the game music. Whenever the game music, whatever point in the song I was on, that's the point that the game, that's the point that everyone heard.
Gotcha.
And
no,
I would
no
literally
rhyme or reason. We're mid song. Let's go.
We're mid song, ride.
And that's a wrap.
Exactly, literally. And I would start the recording. I'd talk. The music would be playing. I'd stop and I'd upload it, and I'd make a thumbnail and then I'd upload it. But there was literally zero editing, which is kind of funny now to look back on. But
hey, at least you made a thumbnail. Okay, there's a lot of people who just do exactly what you did. Don't even make a thumbnail at all. Don't put a title in, so it's an untitled 4 is what they uploaded.
Yeah,
exactly.
See, I knew at least that much. But I essentially, so I wasn't doing any editing, and then I wouldn't say even some of my videos right now are taking, you know, huge time to edit, but I'm trying to experiment a little bit more with stuff like that. I posted a video maybe a month ago or so of 3,000 ancient orbs versus belts, which is like a classic video in terms of sort of, from my perspective, in terms of concept. Just I've done it before. It's something people like to see. Ancient orbs are always interesting. And I tried to be, I was like, I don't think people want to just sit here and watch me click 3,000 times on any speed. You know, even if I sped this thing up times 5, that's boring to me. So I tried to keep it a little bit creative, and that video did quite well. So that's a bit of a confidence boost in terms of, I think, you know, complicating the editing a little bit to maybe get the concept across better, and maybe even show a little bit more of sort of the personality behind it, which is something that I always try and, it's always a fine line right there, struggling to do that.
Yeah, well, I mean, at the end of the day, you're the content creator, and you have to make the content your own, right? So you can't just copy everybody else. Then you're just,
of course,
a watered down version of whoever you copied. So you got to add your own personality into there. And,
exactly.
I've definitely gone through iterations, lots and lots of iterations of like, what actually is my style? And heck, I still don't even know. I've done so many styles during the past little bit, but I think my style is more like the jokey pop-up things that I was going back with November, and then I kind of went just into sit down and talk, and then it did perform as well. And then I'm like, I think I actually had it figured out what I should have stuck with, and those are more fun. So I go like back and forth, and I'm still trying to figure out what's my style.
Yeah.
And what kind of videos am I doing?
That takes time. Honestly, I completely understand that, because I think only in the last maybe 6 to 8 months have I really started to kind of feel fully comfortable in front of the camera and doing these things, to the point where I feel like my personality is coming through more in a way that I would hope. That's not to say that there's no personality in the other videos before then. I think it was just kind of, it was harder for me to accurately express that in a video in a way that I felt like was more natural. Maybe it's just me being critical of myself, but that's how I felt. So maybe like August was like, I felt was like a really big turning point there. Sort of the videos I was making.
Yeah, well, for my like first ones, it was a bunch of just jump cuts, or I just like cut every section. So I probably over edited to the point where it's like, word, cut that, word, cut that, word, cut that. Yeah. We got 2 words. We got 2 words. We got 2 words. Oh,
it's like one of those like hostage letters, you know, with like the different letters and numbers and cut out of magazines.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. Like just stitched it together. That was my kind of my first content. Now we're at the point where I'm actually just comfortable enough that I'm talking in whole sentences. Whoa, amazing, right? But it's if you have no formal training or anything like that in theater or just recording yourself, it's just a very weird thing. It takes a while to get somewhat comfortable, I think.
It is. I've always been relatively comfortable with public speaking, which I think is an advantage. But it's different when you're kind of trying to show somebody something in a way that, I don't know, Path of Exile videos are, I always feel like I never know enough. So there's always a little bit of like that doubting voice in the back of your head that's, you know, you missed this, or did you check that? And then inevitably, if I do miss something, someone is right there instant to tell me that I did, which is always helpful, honestly, because I never make that mistake again. But on the same note, it's different for me from that perspective, making videos versus just like traditional public speaking that I've done in the past. But it's been a very valuable experience in that way.
So for the public speaking, what sort of things were you doing in your life for that? Was that like
Uh,
clubs
a
or?
lot of well, so in school, I did a lot of in university, I did a lot of public speaking. I had a lot of presentations, very large in front of large groups of people, hundreds of people.
Mhm.
Um, I had done a little bit of that in real life with work, things like that. And I don't know, I've just never really had that. I've never really been the sort of person to practice my presentations or anything like that. I could just kind of go and just started speaking off the cuff, and I hadn't really run into any issues yet. So I figured it must be working at least a little bit, and
Mhm.
that helped. I think, like I said, quite a bit with the video making, at least at the outset.
Oh yeah, for sure. I mean, that's a different skill in itself. And
Oh
if you
yeah,
don't have
oh
that,
yeah,
then you have basically what I started with, which is
yeah,
okay, slap it together. All right.
yeah,
The carrion golem. Got it.
yeah.
The carrion
Nice.
golem. He's gonna do something. All right. Next sentence.
Yeah, you're like
Add a
animated like a
verb.
1950s Walt Disney cartoon.
Exactly.
Each
Exactly.
frame.
Yeah, some of my early content. Let's not talk about that. It's just get me going.
That's funny.
So one of the things that you've put together, especially like this month, you put out a ton of videos. So talk to me about consistency. How do you stay so
Mm.
consistent? How do you schedule? Do you pre-record your videos and schedule them all out? Are you
Mhm.
scrambling at last second to get them? Like what does that look like?
Yeah, so I would say first, the consistency is just key in general, I think, to success, or at least, whatever my version of success right now on YouTube is. Uh, People need to kind of have an expectation that you're going to be posting. Um, every day this month just kind of happened. I think I had an epiphany sort of in early March where I was thinking, I was like, you know what? I'm just going to kind of do as much as I can possibly do. I'm really loving this league. I'm having a really great time. I want to keep playing as much as I can. I feel like I should capitalize on this feeling as much as I can and put out as many videos as I can possibly do. And honestly, a huge part of that is just support from my community, people coming up to me and saying, "Hey, like I really want you to double corrupt my mage blood," and I'm like, "Let's double corrupt your mage blood. That's going to be really awesome." And that's sort of stuff that I couldn't even imagine myself doing, a year and a half ago playing Path of Exile when I have been there. I've been in like, the 5 Exalt a league person, I guess
Mhm.
5 Exalt a league mentality, right? So it's like, it's hard for me to like reconcile that I'm now corrupting, hundreds of Exalts, maybe even thousands of
Yeah.
Exalts worth of gear or whatever per league. Anyway, side tangent. But I would say that the consistency has been really important, even in leagues. For example, like Scourge League was a longer league. They extended it. I think it was only kind of lukewarm in terms of reception. In the beginning, maybe a little bit stronger, but it kind of dropped off maybe after 3 or 4 weeks. I feel like I'm posting deep into leagues where most people have already stopped playing, and I think that for me the consistency is extremely important from both I'd say from a few different lenses. One is YouTube really likes consistency is the reality.
Mhm.
Is that the more you post, the more YouTube is willing to recommend you, etc. And that is of course is relevant if you want to grow a channel. Two is like there's never really a point where I'm like burnt out completely. So I'm always like enjoying making the videos, and I really like making content. So I think that getting the opportunity to do so all the time is something I'm constantly trying to put myself in that position where I have to make a video, I have something to do. Um, and as well, I would say consistency is really important for people's expectations of you to some degree, sort of devoid of the YouTube algorithm or anything like that. It's just I kind of always want people to know that there's a video of mine coming. There's something to look forward to. I think if you stop posting for a month or 2 months, it's people, that's not a bad thing. It's people on their own schedules, of course, but for me, I feel like if I can keep myself sort of top of mind for people, that's an advantage.
Yeah,
So
for
I
sure.
try and be pretty consistent about that as much as I can be, of course. But like I said, there are people who will post like I really like this YouTuber Summoning Salt. I'm not sure if you're familiar.
Mm.
He does like history of speedrun videos,
Okay.
and essentially he posts a video like once every 4 months, and but his videos are super high quality, and people like treat them like in this very high regard. And I think like there's like place for both of these things, but I'm more in the camp for myself of consistency and outputting with somewhat regularity. And to answer your earlier question, I do schedule videos. I actually, today was the first day in a month that I haven't posted a video, but I have 7 scheduled. I just didn't
Okay.
want to pull them up because I kind of wanted to give myself a little bit of space
Mm-hmm.
for when, if the league gets extended or some, God forbid, or something like that. But I try and make it so, again, I have enough content to get me through every given league. And because I did so much this league, I wanted to make sure I figured I earned a little bit of space for my
Gotcha.
videos.
So, what schedule are you trying to stick to? Like, what's the bare minimum that you're aiming for your consistency? 2 videos a week, 3? What?
Usually about 2 or 3, yeah.
Okay.
In the beginning of a league, it's usually, for me, it's a bit slower because I'm kind of getting my bearings. It's like to run any kind of gamble video myself in the beginning of the league, I have to have money. Like, I have to have currency. Like, it
Mm-hmm.
doesn't just come out of thin air. I have to play a lot, and it takes me some time to farm up currency. I'm not like an Empyrean playing in groups, just spitting out currency every step. It's
Yeah.
like it takes me a long
Oh, our
time playing
15th
solo.
head hunter of the day, and a mage
Yeah,
1-2.
exactly. Listen, if I was doing that, I feel like I'd have a much better head start. But I like playing solo, and it takes me time to gather these things. So in the beginning of the league, like, maybe the first 2 weeks, it's 2 videos a week. Um, and most of those are not really what people would consider to be like my bread and butter. Like, it's not usually a lot of gambling. Sometimes it is,
Mm-hmm.
but most of the time it's kind of progress updates, interesting drops I've found. If there's something relevant for the league mechanic, I'd post that. And then right around the 3-ish week mark is when I hit about 3 videos a week usually. And then that's when I'm starting to pump out content that's a little bit more akin to what people I think know me for. But it depends. It depends. This league, like I said, it was a bit of an anomaly, but I wanted to capitalize on the good feeling of 3.17.
Mm-hmm. So you mentioned some people saying, "Hey, you want to double corrupt my mage blood and stuff like that." How did you go about cultivating a community where people are on board to help you out with stuff like that? Walk me through that
Yeah,
journey.
yeah. So originally everything was me. I was funding everything myself, right? Like, I was buying all the stuff, and I was corrupting and turning in and doing all this stuff was just coming from my like ever dwindling pile of exalts for basically 6 to 8 months. And then I don't really know what happened, to be honest. Like, people just started to reach out, and I was like, honestly, I was honored that they wanted me to do this for them, and I still am. Every time someone reaches out, I'm kind of like, it's a little bit of like an imposter syndrome thing where I'm kind of like, why me? Like, why do you want me to do this? And it's like the kind words and the support of the community is honestly everything to me. Um, I don't really know exactly what happened though. I think just as I started to get larger, I don't think people really started to reach out until maybe I became a little bit more on the radar, probably like a year-ish ago.
Mm-hmm.
I was probably at like maybe like 1,500 subs, which is still quite small. But I I started to just get people to reach out, and I think once like a couple people did it, I think there was this opportunity for folks to say, "Oh, like, I could kind of like get involved with this." Like, you feel like you're much more a part of it, right? If it's your
Mm-hmm.
items on the line, and I think people wanted to like share in that experience. They wanted to have their items on the line. And sort of get someone else's reaction for it. I think that's part of it as well. Um, so I think it was just kind of a bit of a snowball effect. Once people, like a couple people started to do it, and everyone's like, "Oh, like, I could do that," and then it's sort of, it goes on and on and on. And it's like I'm at the point now where I have to sometimes like turn people away because uh, it's something I'm not able to do right now. For example, if someone offers, I want to sacrifice, 10 House of Mirrors. I'm like, I don't really have time to like farm up, the sacks right now to do this. But it'd be fun. Or alternatively, a lot of people will every league, 60 people message me trying to get, I'm exaggerating, but a lot of people message me to identify like 86 Watcher's Eyes. And I'm like, I can't do this many Watcher's Eyes videos in a league. It's just too much. Um,
Mm-hmm.
but I feel honestly very thankful to be in that position where I can, you know, uh, to some degree, pick and choose what I think makes sense at that time. But I'm consider myself to be pretty accommodating for more or less anybody who wants to ask. Um,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's fun. I love doing this sort of stuff. So I'm always trying to do more, which is which is maybe my the reason why I have 30 videos in a row or whatever for the last month.
Yeah, yeah. Um, and when you say reach out, you mean through Discord, or where did your
Yeah.
community kind of get together?
Yeah.
How's that go?
Bit of a mix. Lately, it's been mostly Discord. Occasionally, some people will message me in game. Um, I try and make in-game names that always have my name in it, so that way if someone does want to find me, it's somewhat easy. You're not
Mm-hmm.
guessing with like, of course, like I have my account name, but if someone like sees me in trade or whatever, it's a little bit easier to make the leap than it is if I'm naming myself something completely unrelated. Um, but mostly Discord. I have a very small Discord community, but shout out to the Discord community. Uh, but I'm trying to cultivate that a little more. That's something I wish I had done a year ago because it's been
Mm-hmm.
really fun to interact with people more casually than like in like the comment section, for example, which is
Yeah,
nice. Nice to have that.
yeah, that's something that I didn't do a good job building for a while, but now I have a lot of people on my Discord
Nice,
that are helping each other and stuff like that. Like
exactly, and I love that.
around 30 regular people who, so a new person will come in and they'll help them if I
Yeah,
can't get to it. That's
yeah,
so valuable, and it's just really nice
a
because
hundred percent.
when you're very small, you feel like, okay, well, I got to help every person. Well, I got to make videos too. I got to edit and stuff like that.
Yeah. It's also I don't like I said I know very far from everything about this game, and I have a lot of gaps in my knowledge, and somebody chances are can fill that gap, and so it's really nice. So for example, I'm not a crafter. I'm very for all the alcohol videos I've seen, he hasn't done enough to help me. I don't
There you go,
not,
alcohol. If you're
yeah,
asking what should you do in next video, more crafting videos right
yeah,
here.
do more crafting,
Amistad
tap tap.
definitely desperately needs more help.
um, but yes, it's something I'm trying to get better about, and this league I've done more of that. But I can't always give you the best crafting advice because I just don't know the answer, and I have great people in my community who do know the answer, and they can help in the crafting channel. Like a lot of the time, I'm just like scrolling through, learning stuff myself. Just reading up. I'm like, oh, that's what I should do in that situation. Like I'm noting it, in the back of my head. But
There you go.
it's nice. It's very nice. I love
Yeah.
that the community interaction.
Okay. Are you ready for the big one?
I'm ready for the big one. I've been prepping all night.
You've been prepping for this one like a final
Prepping all night.
exam, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. I didn't sleep last night thinking about it.
Okay. Okay. Unlimited budget,
Hmm.
unlimited time, unlimited skills, unlimited help. What video
Yep.
do you make?
So let me just quickly walk. So I watched the Palstron video, and
Are you
I
gonna
knew
put
this question.
Pelstron on that? Leave Pelstron
No, no,
alone.
no.
Okay.
I'm just
Okay.
saying I knew that this question existed, and I thought about it at the time. I was thinking, what would I do in that situation? And so I had my thought process was this. I started broad, right? I said, I like to do the stuff that kind of nobody likes to do. Like I'll do like 10,000 I'll do a million fusings. I'll do 10,000 stack decks. Like people don't love to do this to themselves, but I like to do that stuff. I have a video idea that I thought like I kind of alluded to this earlier as being a very long time to do this and really scope this out. I'll just tell you the idea. I'll say it out there. I'll break the mystique. But I wanted to run 10,000 vaults of Aziri maps because I think my point is I like to run the stuff that nobody likes to do. I like to run like the maps that are people just like run to complete. I like to run the
Hmm.
strategies that people actually actively dislike. um, and I think Vaults of Aziri is a perfect one because it's actually triggered by a thought. I was watching a British Exile stream, who's a great content creator as well,
Hmm.
and he made this kind of offhand comment, and there's no way he thought anything about this, but it was basically like he's like everyone always gets their mirrors from chests, and I was like, that's an idea. What if I made a video opening 100,000 chests, and then that evolved into what if I made a video doing 10,000 vaults of Atziri maps, which sounds horrible, but then we will definitively know if people get their mirrors from chests, and if I get a mirror from there, then I can say I got a mirror from a chest. It's true. And honestly, I just it sounded like hell, and that's why I wanted to do it.
Okay, so a bit of a masochist here we got.
Bit of
We
a
got for us.
masochist. But
Not
the time, man, the time.
What about like 10,000 Mayo Cons or Coods or however you pronounce it? That one's a pretty terrible one.
That one is terrible. And the thing is, the nice thing about Vaults of Ensiri is you don't have to think at all. You know,
Yeah.
you just if you're running something like that in gigantic quantities,
Yeah.
Malkoon is going to be a huge pain because
Yeah.
you know you're going around the map, you're trying to find the chests, you got to keep killing that boss who doesn't die when you get him to 1 health.
You gotta keep track of that. Well, I'm saying if you
Only
really want to
Madden has
torture
10,000.
yourself, I mean,
Yeah,
that's where I would make.
If I really want to torture
someone
myself,
go,
I'll do
you know what I mean?
I'll do 10,000 Pillars of Rune. How about that?
Oh no. Yeah, another awful
exactly.
one.
Yeah. I
some
like these
crazy
unique
stuff.
maps because they're so old and they're so outdated and people really don't like them. But I bet you there's like a kernel of value in there that people are kind of unwilling to see.
Like a
because,
return from.
Yeah.
Because some of them have really high like quant rarity and stuff. Yeah.
I forget like the vaults one, but I think it's like 10,000% chest rarity and quantity or something like that. It's crazy. And they're 3C each. You can buy them in bulk for 3C each. I don't know. There's something there.
Maybe I'll be very surprised, you know, when I see that video come out.
So, I will be surprised when I see that video come out too.
There you go. Someone steal his video idea. I mean,
know.
What? No.
Honestly. Yeah, honestly.
Hopefully not. Hopefully not. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I didn't think that one through. It's supposed to you weren't supposed to say something that's doable, man. You killed it. You know what I mean?
I know. God, no one take my idea, or you'll see me in court. I've got it ready. I've got my lawyer on deck.
It was here. You know, I mean, there's a timestamp. It was shown. The stolen idea. Okay, so no one do the idea. Okay, you heard it here. Actually, it's on my video, so I own that video now. Sorry.
Oh, damn! I fell right into your trap.
You've activated my trap card, or whatever the anime shit is. I don't know.
Yeah, the Yu-Gi-Oh.
Yeah, is it Yu-Gi-Oh? Yeah,
it's Yu-Gi-Oh.
Whatever the kids are saying these days. Darn kids, get off my lawn. You know, as I get older, I'm more like that. Like, well, do this thing. Well, I don't want to do all those cool meme things that mean nothing to me. So
yeah. I was a Yu-Gi-Oh kid. There's no doubt about it. Okay. Yu-Gi-Oh and Pokemon, big.
I was into like Magic the Gathering, but then Pokemon Red, Blue. But then I didn't play that. There's Power Rangers and Pokemon and Ninja Turtles before that. So.
That none of those were ever for me. I never did Magic either, although I think I'd like it because I liked Hearthstone a lot too. But I still play Hearthstone every now and then. But Magic I think I would have liked, but the barrier to entry at the time was too high. I think was part of the issue when you needed to play physical cards.
Yeah, for sure. And like when you're younger, it costs a lot of money for those packs to get a decent deck.
Exactly. That money's not coming out of nowhere.
Yeah, exactly. Money doesn't grow on trees. Okay. Well, okay. Well, there is a money tree, but no. Yeah, I always did like draft. I don't know if you know what draft is.
I'm familiar. Just Hearthstone, similar concept.
Yeah, it's similar concept to that, except for like in person, it would be a tournament where you like open 3 packs and you take 1 card out and then pass it to the left, and they pass the pack, and then you had to make a deck. Stuff like that.
That's
that
cool.
Wasn't like you spent tons and tons of money. That's what I like to play. That or there was basically you open up 2 boosters and 1 60 card deck, and then whatever you got, that's what you had to make a deck out of, or 12 boosters with it. And it was like an all night event, so you'd go there at like midnight, then the tournament would go to like 8 a.m. Crazy. So that's what I used to do, like in person. Yeah, it's pretty fun.
That sounds really fun.
Yeah, but I don't do that anymore. You know, I don't even go outside now. So,
I mean, me either.
Yeah, with the whole C-word stuff and everything, it's just like, okay.
Yep.
Lots and lots of Path of Exile time. All right, let's go. So
yeah, honestly, I've played more Path of Exile in the last 2 years, probably because of that. Then that honestly, I mean, my channel was birthed in that, so I wouldn't have had the time, I don't think, otherwise.
Yeah. All right, so there's probably some people who are going to be watching this who they are pretty passionate about Path of Exile. They've kind of flirted with maybe starting their own channel, but haven't done it. What advice would you give to somebody who hasn't started a channel yet but wants to start a channel? Where do you start?
Yeah. I've been asked this before, and I think my answer has been pretty much consistent because I think this is the truth, is you need to find a niche. The best way to grow, I think, a channel and really succeed, if your goal is to grow a YouTube channel, then I think the best thing to do is a niche. And I found my niche pretty fast, in the sense that I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to make these sort of shorter gambling videos. That was the original idea. And I've kind of been I've been stuck in that niche doing that for 2 years almost. And I love it. That's what I wanted to do, and I'm still something I love to do. I think that's the best thing that you can do. I think there's a lot of, I think now there's more Path of Exile content out there than ever before. Everyone's doing something. There's lots of strategies stuff out there. I don't think you necessarily have to be the best at anything. You don't have to be the first to do anything, but as long as you can kind of hit some kind of niche, and that niche could just be you're doing strategies and it's your personality is the niche, that can also be the niche. I think it's just, you kind of have to find a way to stand out, because there's so much content out there right now, and a lot of it is quite similar, right? You have to kind of determine, because it's like, why am I going to watch your blight strategy video over person X's blight strategy video? And I think a lot of that has to do with, how do you find the way to stand out there? And maybe that's, you do it in a different way than other people, and that could certainly be it. Or again, maybe it's like yours are a little bit more like lighthearted and you're funnier than like the more like serious strategy videos. Anything like that, you have to kind of find your place there. Is what I would say is the main thing. And consistency, like I said, you got to post a lot. If your goal is to just make videos to just because, and you don't really care about growing the channel, that's totally fair, and that's a separate point. But if you want to grow, I think that's the way to do it.
Yeah, when you said niche, you meant a niche within the Path of Exile niche, right?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. Like, again, there's so much content out there. You don't want to just be kind of adding to the pile necessarily. You want to be able to have your own spin.
Oh, bro, I add to that pile. Don't you worry. All over the place. Just like, and another one of those, and another one of these. What does this guy do? He just adds to the piles in certain spots.
I would say, even though, like, if you're like really like making builds, for example, and you want to make like a skelly, a necro skelly build, but it's your necro skelly build, that's a niche. Like, you're doing a different type of build guide than the rest of the rest that's out there.
Don't pick that niche, kids. Don't do that one. What'll happen is, let me just tell you what happens. People will come to there and say, "Huh, an unoptimized skeleton build that was different from the other video that I saw. Frankly, you're doing it wrong, and it's a little bit concerning to me. You should change these." Oh, you thought it would stop there? No. These people write me freaking paragraphs, man. Well, I noticed on the tree, on the 190th passive area-ish, there's one node that you could have picked up, but you just chose not to. Really? What was the name of the node? He didn't tell me. And then it goes on and on and on and on about how I'm a terrible, subhuman piece of trash because I didn't, I have one less skeleton than someone else. That's what you're getting into.
I mean,
don't pick build guides, kids. That's what you get into. There's a reason
I hate
people
to be the bearer
are
of bad news, but you are subhuman trash. If
Holy shit! All right, clip that one. Okay, that's good.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
What about for people starting out in Path of Exile? What advice would you give to those people going in almost completely blind? Where do you start?
Don't go in blind.
Don't go in blind.
Yeah, I mean, well, I'll roll that back. Okay. I would say I went in completely blind, and here I am here, 8 years later, still playing and still loving it. So it's not to say that it doesn't work, but I think if I had known at the time that there was all this great information out there, all these great guides, these really passionate creators who are making really excellent content to help people in my position at that time, I would have taken advantage of it. I would say read, actually, it's funny. I was actually talking to a friend yesterday who's played Path of Exile peripherally. I would say he's far from an expert. He's definitely a build follower, a build guide follower. he's not going to stray from the build guide. And I think that he should be looking at those build guides. It's going to be really helpful. And I think there's so many people out there who build content for people who don't know anything about Path of Exile. Take advantage of that. There's a lot out there, like Anki's Arc Witch guide. Like that is an incredible guide for anybody at any skill level. If you have never touched an ARPG, you can become a player of Path of Exile using that guide, and that's so cool. And so I feel like there's others out there. Do some research. I think it'll benefit. I think it'll benefit from doing that.
Okay. I think I skipped over this one. What's your favorite mechanic in the game?
Whoa, I'm about to get canceled. Are you ready?
Okay. You're stealing. You stole my line. I'm the one who's supposed to tell you that you're getting canceled for it. Are we doing a reverse interview or okay? Heist it is.
It's heist. I love heist unabashedly. I like doing it at all points in the league.
Wait, are you about to do a poem here? Is that what we're doing?
Yeah, it's a haiku.
That's how you started. Oh, okay.
It's a haiku. Yeah.
Okay.
I love heist a lot. There you go. What is it? 7? I'll think about it later. But
not a language guy.
I end up farming heist every league. I would say that I get greater peaks from of enjoyment from other mechanics. But I keep coming back to heist and always enjoying it. I've done it every single league a ton since it came out, and I think 3.12. And I do it all the time. I love it. I love blueprints. I think there's some tweaks that would make heist more enjoyable for people who maybe don't like heist right now, or even more enjoyable for people like myself who do. But heist is it's my mistress. I just keep coming back. I love it, but honestly, there's very few mechanics about that that I don't like. I'm like a serial optimist when it comes to stuff like this, for better or worse. There's a couple things I would remove that I just think are superfluous at this point. Like talisman is pointless. I think metamorph could go. What's another one that I think could go? Did I say torment? Torment could go, but. Yeah, I don't know. There's things I sort of neither here nor there, but I like most of the things. So I feel like it's a tough question for me to answer. Like if I were to ask what you do not like, it's hard for me to even get into that boat.
You're saying I should ask you what you don't like.
You can ask me.
I'm just not gonna give an answer.
I have a video idea that I was gonna do is 10 quality of life improvements that would make Path of Exile a better game. And those are the things I think that need to be improved. It's not like the mechanics themselves. It's like the little stuff. Like we know that the game can have doors open automatically when you get close to them. Doors should open automatically when you get close to them. There's no point in clicking a door. That's a hill I'm willing to die on. Okay. So stuff like that.
But it takes away from the immersion. Doors don't open themselves. Doors don't open themselves. That's like what Chris's response would be. That's not how things are here. No.
The weight of clicking the door. Yeah.
Exactly. We'll break everything.
Yeah, exactly.
When do you start? So when do you go into this heist farm? Is this something you're doing like very early on in the league?
Ish. I'm not like one of those people who there's like the heist strategy, right, where you reset your level.
Yeah.
And you do that. I don't touch that. That's a little too much, especially in this league. I was like, there's no way I would even consider that because I wanted to get to the end game and explore the new Atlas. But I usually by about week 1.5 to week 2, I have acquired, I've bought in bulk like 60 lockpicking blueprints, and I'm just going in. I love not blueprints, contracts, and I'm going in on the contracts repeatedly. A lot of it I self farm. I consider like my gear is all stuff that I will buy, but I don't like to buy other things. Like I did, I farmed up almost 20 of each Legion emblem this league myself. Like I didn't want to buy them to do the challenge. I wanted to do it all myself. So stuff like that, I like to self farm, and a lot of the time I'll self farm heist. But to sort of kickstart it, I will jump in. I always pick the heist stuff on the Atlas tree to start. Get the extra rogue coins, that chance for a completed blueprint. When you hit a completed blueprint, unusual gems, that is ecstasy right there. That's an adrenaline hit right to the vein.
Gotcha. So you're like maxing out all your optimizing your dudes, your heist guys, that mini game.
Yeah, yes, I do begrudgingly. I would say that's stuff that I think could use a little bit of a rework because I think it's just too much tedium. But on the whole, I do maximize them. I don't go all in. I'm not spending exalts and exalts and exalts on their gear, but I get them to a point where they're functional, they're good. Because I usually only farm heist for like maybe a week or two, and then I move on to something else. But I do it so consistently that it has to be my favorite mechanic, just based on how often I've done it.
So what do you farm early in the league to get all the currency for your first gambles? Usually, you're just playing a lot and elking and going, or you farm a specific thing, or
Yeah, so in Scourge, I found it hard to sort of jumpstart myself. I was going really slowly. I would say that's an anomaly, though. When I was looking at this league, for example, like everybody else, I did strongbox and essence farming, and I did that a ton. I think the reality is I also play so much in the league start that it's like inevitably you're going to have good things happen to you just based on the odds, right?
How much is so much? What does that mean? Is that like 1 hour a day? That's quite a lot for some people.
No, like I'd say like 15 hours a day in the first 5 days at least.
Okay.
So I'm really going in. It's because it's something I really enjoy to do. I love playing League Start, and I think you can make a lot of quicker currency at League Start, for example, because things like Chaos is so cheap so valuable compared to how it is later in the league. So like I'm just getting Chaos, farming Chaos, just playing the game, buying exalts at every single opportunity with Chaos, doing flips that's like the only flip I'll do. I'm not like a currency flipper. That's way too boring for me. But yeah, so I'm basically trying to take as much advantage of the early league economy as I possibly can because there's a lot of early currency to be made there. This league, I did a lot of essence farming. I did heist. What did I do this league? I can't remember. I farmed harbingers for a little bit, but I didn't think that was that good.
They seem really awful. Harbingers are really awful right now relative to what they used to be.
I was kind of stuck on that. I really refused to surrender that they were bad, and I kept doing it for too long. But they really weren't very good. And then honestly, once I hit like my mid level, I had a decent build. I had like 10, 15x or something like that. I think by like day 3 or 4, I had like 15x if I remember correctly, maybe 20x, which was a lot more than usual. Honestly, is when I started to shift into different strategies like harvest and. I did a little bit of expedition as well. I did a lot of expedition. Expedition's really fun. But I mean, early in the league, expedition is just like, that's just printing money right there.
Yeah, that's what I focused on basically this league.
Craft ROG stuff and you are rich as heck. There's no way around it.
I just pulled the currency out of the guy that you bartered
Tujin,
with.
Yeah. He's super good too. I've made most of my money with expedition on ROG though. Overall, but the thing is, like, ROG is tougher if you're a newer player, right? Because you kind of have to have at least a basic understanding of how like prefixes and suffixes and mods work. It's like if you don't know that, you're going to be kind of lost on ROG, which I think is something to strive towards potentially.
Well, and also you got to know how to actually price the items too.
That too,
which a lot of people don't want to learn.
Too.
So yeah, you craft it, but what is it worth something?
Exactly. And then my plan to make money in 3.18 is I'm gonna drop a mirror on day 3. So I'm thinking that should be pretty good. Leave me pretty set for the rest of the league. But yeah, that's the plan.
Okay, well, just don't go emailing Chris for a little while, okay? You'll lose up that luck again.
Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna use up my luck. I've never dropped a mirror though, but every league I feel like it's my league and it never is.
Yeah, exactly. I haven't dropped one either. Like I said, I've been playing since the Shrine.
What's the best item you've ever dropped?
Oh, jeez. Probably a Watcher's Eye. Probably this league.
Like a good Watcher's Eye or just a Watcher's Eye?
Like a pretty decent Watcher's Eye. I actually dropped 2 ones that had one of them had Purity of Elements, the Chaos Res with Malevolence multi.
Wow. Yeah, I bet you that was good.
Yeah.
I know the Chaos Res one was
So
like
I just
minimum
dumped
like a
I
few
just
X.
dumped that one like for 40x or something.
Nice.
Like really early into the league. I think like day 6 or 7 or something.
Mm,
So I found that
wow.
one, and then I found
Day 6
another
or 7,
one.
geez.
Yeah, and that I did an Uber Elder for a video and an Elder for a video. But the Elder one dropped one as well, and it had the levelets.
Wow. You cashed in your
Just
luck
the
early.
multi, that one with attack speed, that one with attack speed for
Oh,
precision.
geez.
So both of
Wow.
those, that was some of the most lucky things that I got. And then the league before
That is
that, I
wild.
got 2 brothers stash drops in the first like
Wow.
week.
Jeez. I got one brother stats drop this entire league.
Outside of that, I don't really get lucky drops almost ever. It's mostly little stuff or like flipping things or buying items that are partially completed or something like that. I haven't really, outside of that, had any really like crazy drops that I didn't craft on my own.
Yeah, that's the
So
thing
I'm
is I
used
know
to
if I was a
that,
better
but
crafter, I'd make more money. But
yeah, crafting is just so profitable. But one, I don't
yeah.
enjoy it, and like, what's the point of the game? Yeah, I could learn how to craft it and just sit there and craft all day. It ain't fun to me. So there's a bunch of people
100%.
that's really fun to them. Good for those guys. They're always going to be way richer than me. I'm just okay with that. I want to kill monsters in the game. I want to elk and go some maps. I want to just blow some stuff up and chill. That's why I play the game. That's what I find fun. So it's not all just about, it's more like optimizing fun more so than money. And sometimes
100%.
people forget that and they just want to, maximize earning the money. And then they burn themselves out and they don't play. And then guess what? They make zero monies, right?
Yeah, you pretty much took the words right out of my mouth. The best strategy is always the one that's going to keep you playing the longest. Everyone says that, but it's so true.
Yeah.
It's so true. Because it's like if you hate heist, and I tell you heist is the most profitable mechanic in the game, which it can be, depending, you're going to burn out, like you said, after a few days, and then you're going to have zero money, and you're going to be sad and poor. So it's like...
So I like Expedition, so that generally is my go-to, that, the logbooks, and then just putting them on maps or something, like Underground Sea. I'll do a bunch of Underground Sea, because I like the Expedition, like how the layout works. You usually don't get bad ones on there, and it has really good base density, so I just do Underground Sea with it, and now it has the Exalt card, the 12 Exalt, or 12 cards for an Exalt, so not the worst one, even though the boss is pretty trash. But
yeah.
So I usually I spent most of the time this league in that and just farming Expedition and then going to the logbooks and back into that. And I tried some wacky strategies and stuff. But
this league had the most potential for you can do every strategy on any map, right? It's and the flexibility is incredible.
It's really nice that now you can do the boss rush strat that like Pelstron was showing and some other people were showing as well, where you just go to the end, do essence, do the boss, get a ton of money. So that's pretty cool when there's actually variance to that.
Yeah, I want to try that next league if they don't nerf it. I didn't do that at all this league, but it sounds fun. Watching the videos looked really fun.
Yep, and that's what the it's crazy. I know it sounds like blasphemy, but the point of the game is having fun, guys. Don't forget that.
You're crazy. You're about to get canceled.
Yeah, I know. There we go again. So it's okay. I'm not very consistent. I just won't post for a while. People forget I exist, and then I'll show back up and we'll hit our heart again. But no. All right. Thank you so much for joining us and having this talk. I had a lot of fun.
Thanks for having me. This was great.
Yeah. Do you wanna shout out your stuff? Where can people find you?
Sure. So my channel is OMISID on YouTube. It should be the first result, I think.
And it'll be in the description. There'll be a link to it.
And it's in the description. I also stream on Twitch at OMISIDGG, and catch me on Discord anywhere. All that stuff's on the channel, so feel free to tap in. I'm always down to chat.
Do you have certain days that you stream on Twitch?
Right now, I'm streaming on weekends just because during the week I'm full-time job and I'm busy. But usually I stream Saturdays and Sundays. I'll probably keep that up for as long as as long as I have time.
Can they find you?
Time.
Yes.
Good point. Usually I start around 1 p.m. Eastern, and I run for about 4-ish hours, give or take.
There you go. Saturdays and Sundays, 1 p.m. Eastern.